that really was a pivotal time in my life where I learned what kind of father I want to be, what kind of life that I want to provide for my family in the future so that they don't have to necessarily experience what I went through, having to get a job, cleaning toilets and bagging groceries at Harris Teeter when I was 15, right? Yes, my kids will work, right? But I don't want them to have to work, and I don't want them to have to, give money from their paychecks, right, to help their mom out, right? Like those are things that stick with me to today.
Sometimes a single boundary becomes a doorway. For Ryan Hadley, it was Megan's simple promise: we can hang out at the library. From that moment, late night noise gave way to early discipline, and the campus tour guide found his voice guiding families through the biggest purchase of their lives. Today, Ryan traces the path from teenage upheaval to filing papers to learning the art of easing tension with a well-timed joke. And at the heart of it all, a mentor named Jerry Berry and the daily practice of gratitude. Stay with us through the end. There's a quiet lesson here about presence, humility, and grit, and how it can compound into a life you didn't even know to imagine. Ryan, welcome to the One Away Show.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me, man.
It's great to have you here and do this with you. I feel like we've known each other years, but not really known each other until recent. So it's been fun. Ryan, so what is the one away moment that you want to share with us today?
So I thought quite a bit about this since you kind of approached me about coming on the show, and I'm going to probably say the most pivotal moment for me was meeting my wife. Went to a small private Christian, high school class of maybe like 40 kids, right? Knew them all growing up. Went to Radford University, very, popular school, a lot of fun. I had my fun my freshman year, and probably a little bit too much. And so when I met Megan, my now wife, and I look back and I go, gosh, if I hadn't met Megan, I really wouldn't have probably passed my freshman year of college. I would have never gone back to Radford. Probably would have ended up having to go back home in Virginia Beach and doing community college and really kind of doing that. But that kind of put me in a great point of really knowing and putting me in a good position to lift off. And, that kind of carried me through my college experience. And, later on, working as a tour guide was a big thing for me in college, where, I was talking to, multiple different people, multiple different families on an everyday basis, giving them tours of Radford University, which was really cool, but it allowed me to learn a lot about how people react to certain things that are said, or just kind of read, people's faces when you say something, right? If I mess up when I'm speaking to somebody, like all those different things. But yeah, I would say that would probably be my one away moment.
Yeah. First off, I mean, super cool that you attributed it to your wife. We don't get that answer often, so that's very special. What when you talk about Megan and you talk about she's completely changed kind of your life and trajectory, what was it about Megan, like when you first met her, that you thought, like, one, this is someone worth like investing time into as a person,
Right.
and then beyond that, like, what made you listen to her?
Well, she's way smarter than me, always have and always will be. And that's, very evident about her when you talk with her, as you probably know, right? Knowing Megan. But what immediately, gravitated me towards her was she's genuine, right? Like just genuine immediately, gonna, tell you how it is. She does truthfully care, but she's not gonna kind of hold back. She's gonna tell you how it is, which I really appreciated, and in that moment where I was messing up in school, I needed that. And, for example, right, she wouldn't hang out with me unless it was at the library because she knew that I was like on the verge of going one way or the other. So, um, yeah, does that answer?
Yeah, it totally answers the question. And I mean, but for you, you mentioned like she said to you, and even more before the call, you said, "I'm only going to hang out with you if it's at the library." I mean, that's pretty bold. Like where, like what, why, and like where were you as a student, right? Because I think this is like great perspective of the journey you've built to where you are now, from like where you've come from. But like, who was Ryan the student in person when you met Megan? Maybe that's a good
I
question.
was, super immature, really just trying to have a great time, hanging out with, whoever, whenever, going out all the time. And when I met Megan, she wasn't doing that, right? She was kind of doing the opposite exactly, truthfully. She was always studying. She was getting, she's so funny. Back in school, she'd like take a quiz or a test and she'd always go, I think I failed it. And then she gets it back and it's like a 95, right? It's a, stellar score. And so, um, I think that has a lot to do kind of with why I was intrigued and really just seeing her success. Um, but also, you know, she she just there was something about her, truthfully, that I just needed to know and get to know about her. So
Yeah, it's amazing when you meet someone who motivates you to be better, and you watch them, and you're like, "Damn, I could use some of that too."
right, no, I needed it, yeah, really badly, and yeah, just from that time that we met, and I had to hang out with her all the time. I needed to be around her and learn from her, and so she's taught me a lot.
That's awesome, and it's cool that you attribute so much to this relationship. Um, Once you did meet her and you spent more and more time, how did it start to change you in terms of your habits, your behaviors, how you showed up on campus, and things that you took after?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say, really it changed my entire perspective on my future and what I wanted, right? Because I wanted these things for myself and for my future family. Um, and really it seemed, when I started kind of putting myself in those situations and doing well, I felt better overall. I felt, like, oh my gosh, this is great. And growing up, right, I had a rough, you know, end of middle school going into high school. So college was kind of like, hey, I want to have a great time, but kind of reeling me back in with Megan, what we were just talking about. I realized what was important for me, and these were pivotal years, right, that established, the foundation for my family and my future. Um, so yeah,
That's awesome. Um, you mentioned to me pre-call, like you got involved on campus, like as a tour guide, and that it was helping you learn how to talk to people. And what about that experience, as you look back on now, right? Like, what are some of the things that you think you learned the most about being on campus and kind of leading others and speaking to your university? Like, what did that teach you, like interpersonally?
I feel like it taught me, that I feel like there's always so much hesitancy like out there of like meeting somebody new or going up and introducing yourself or saying hello, and being in that position and being in the tour guide program and then eventually running the tour guide program, it pushed me to where I was shouting in the middle of University Square, right, explaining, this is the cafeteria. So all eyes were brought on me, and so it really taught me kind of, one, to be confident, to be, confident in what I'm saying. And also two, that, really everybody's nice if you're nice to them back, truthfully. Right? Like if you smile at somebody, 9 times out of 10, they'll probably smile back. Right. And so that's a big thing that, I kind of took from that, as well as, you can't take things too seriously in life. That's a big thing. And so if you do mess up, own it and then just keep going. And so, I think that's huge. And what I've taken in today is the confidence piece, having confidence that is, that is evident to clients that I work with on a day-to-day basis. They know that I'm confident. They know that I know what I'm talking about. And so just, reassuring them and knowing that they can trust me with what they're doing.
That's cool. It can be so uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, when you're that young to go meet a bunch of people or, get outside the comfort zone. And yeah, I mean, I remember at Georgia, like it was such an intimidating school at times. And yeah, I liked my, you know, intramural group and my lunch group. And, outside of that was tough.
Yep. You stick to what you know, right?
That's awesome. In terms of like, let's talk about a little like career. Like Megan, you said she was motivating you. Like when you were in college and you were thinking about, and for context, how old are you, Ryan?
So I am 29.
29. All right. So 3 years younger than I am. So when you were, let's say like 20 years old, and were you with Megan at the time when you were 20?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
How was seeing her work ethic and how she was pushing you, how is that shaping your like future thoughts or present thoughts around, like the professional or like what your
Well,
ambitions?
I knew for one thing, right? She wasn't gonna want to be with somebody who wasn't ambitious, right? And hungry to grow and better themselves, right? And so that's what, shaped me, I would say, to have the mindset today too. There have been other kind of things that have happened in my life too that have, I've got motivations from things that happened in my childhood, right? And those kind of things that have brought me through. Um, but yeah, what does that answer?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so. I think there's experiences from your past and your childhood, and that shaped you, which is like same here, so we can talk later about that, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I kind of use the example of the things that I went through when I was younger hold a deep place and meaning, right? And what motivates me now today to be the father that I want to be, right? The husband that I want to be, um, the businessman that I want to be, right? I want to have a great reputation and a great legacy.
here's maybe a question on that note, like given how you grew up, I mean, I don't know a whole lot. Like, how did that maybe shape what you wanted differently for yourself today?
Yeah. So, if you were to look at me when I was, you know, let's see, like 14, 15, right? Um, Parents got divorced, super messy. Dad ended up leaving. Don't have any relationship still to this day with my father, right? So, that really was a pivotal time in my life where I learned what kind of father I want to be, right? That's number one. What kind of life that I want to provide for my family in the future so that they don't have to necessarily experience what I went through, where, having to get a job cleaning toilets and bagging groceries at Harris Teeter when I was 15, right? Doing those kind of things and going through those things really, and they still, to this day, like, those are things that I'm like, yes, my kids will work, right? But I don't want them to have to work, and I don't want them to have to, you know, give money from their paychecks, right, to help their mom out, right? Like those are things that stick with me to today.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea about your father, and that's tough, man. And but to your point, right? You have two kids, right? Now,
Two, yeah, two boys.
that's awesome. It sounds like you saying I know what model I want to set for them, and
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. Like it took me a long time to figure that out and to have that perspective, truthfully. Um, but looking back on it, I learned so much through it. I learned how to work hard. I learned how to have grit, right? Like all these things that I have to do on a day-to-day basis now. Those are all things that I got to kind of learn at a younger age, and so it's just really stuck with me.
for sure, for sure. Um, in terms of, you know, you you've built a, from my understanding, a pretty solid professional reputation, come a long way in a short amount of time. Um, how would you first get into the mortgage space? Would love some context to your background.
Right. Yeah. So, um, my now wife, then, girlfriend, we really weren't dating at the time. We were friends, just trying to see how things were going. Um, but, I really got into the mortgage industry the freshman summer. Yeah. The summer after my freshman year in college. And I got to be a part of an internship program where I was working with Town Bank, essentially. In Town Bank, you can be a part of their internship program and you can be placed as a bank teller. You could have been placed in their insurance division. You could have been placed in their, you know, benefits, division. They have all different kinds of divisions. But I got placed in the mortgage division, right? Which was pretty crazy. And you'll say crazy later on, right? Because of how things worked out. But, in that moment, didn't even know how to spell mortgage, right? Literally no idea. Didn't really even know what a mortgage was. Had no idea. And went through the internship program. And that summer, I'm sitting there kind of just doing back end stuff that was not really fun. Sorting paperwork, trying to, put certain files, homeowners insurance documents and folders and stuff. And I kept on seeing these guys and also women too coming in and out of the office. They're always on their phones. They're going to lunch. They're going to play golf, right? Like they're doing, it seemed like they were having a great day, right? And meanwhile, I'm back here kind of, plugging away at my computer. So I went and asked my manager, I go, well, what are they doing? And she's like, well, they're mortgage loan officers, right? And so her name's Sarah Steadfast. So I owe this to Sarah Steadfast from Town Bank. She still works there to this day. She was awesome. But she's like, and I said, well, gosh, like, and she goes, well, Ryan, I'll make a deal with you. During this internship, you can take one day out of your week and you can shadow a different loan officer. Okay. And so through that summer, I got to really experience every week was a different loan officer. So I got to see how those things were operating. During that same summer, though, I went and met my now wife's, my now father-in-law, right at the time. And he's kind of, busting my balls, asking me what I'm doing for the summer, making sure I'm not like a deadbeat or something, right? He's like, hey, what are you up to this summer? I go, well, I'm actually working at a mortgage company. And he goes, oh my goodness, that's pretty crazy. And, he goes, well, gosh, I mean, I have ownership in a mortgage company. What are the odds of that, right? And so fast forward, through the next 3 years of my college career, Megan and I got more and more serious, right, as the time goes. So I was seeing more and more of Jerry, my father-in-law, who's also a big part of where I am today and who I am. But really, having that support, and also too, I graduated college and I called Jerry, just kind of messing with him, truthfully. So I said, hey, Jerry, I think I'm probably going to go back down to Virginia Beach to work at Town Bank Mortgage, right? Just kind of jokingly with him. And he's like, no, you're not. Come on up to Northern Virginia, right? And kind of learn from me, help me run my book of business and kind of see where it takes you, right? And we'll have fun, right? That's literally how he is. And you know how Jerry is, right, Brian? Like he's so happy go lucky. He's like, yeah, and I go, well, gosh, I mean, I gotta know like how much money, like I gotta budget these things. I gotta get a place to rent. And, being a loan officer, you're in 100% commission, right? Like I haven't had a salary for literally like 7 years, basically since I got out of college, right? And so, there were a lot of uncertainties in that time when I moved to Northern Virginia. I left Virginia Beach, which is where I'm from. My mom's down there. My younger brother, my older brother and his wife, like came up here. And then, another kind of thing, that not a lot of people know too is when you get your mortgage origination license, you have to take exams, right? You have to take an exam to get your license, and I am not the best test taker by any means. And I actually ended up failing the mortgage licensing exam 2 times. And so you had to wait, I believe it was like 30 days after each time. And then if you failed it the third time, you like had to wait like 6 months, right? So the pressure was on when I moved to Northern Virginia and I couldn't pass my licensing exam. And so I told Megan that basically if I didn't pass on the third try, mortgage industry wasn't for me. Like, not for me. I was going to figure something else out, and we were, that was it. Well, I passed the mortgage exam and, went to work for Jerry and was his assistant for, I guess, let's see. I don't know. It's funny, right? I still am a part of the team and still help him on a day-to-day basis. So he could probably still call me an assistant, right? To his level. But we have a great team. We have great people that work on our team. It's fun and it's awesome, and we help a lot of people buy houses. Yeah, so it's
A lot of people buy
a
houses.
lot of people buy houses, and yeah, we're just. I mean, I'm super fortunate to have the people that I've had in my corner, really pulling for me, and a lot of people on my side and pushing me.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's cool that you've, like Megan was a catalyst, hard work, brought you into the family. You saw what was possible. You had experience in the mortgage space, and then you happened to walk in and see, what Jerry had done, and kind of, hey, here's an opportunity to learn. And I think it's amazing. I mean, you could say, oh, the family, like, but it's just because someone opens a door, like, you got to walk through it, you got to run through it, and you got to beat it down. And whether it's a family or an intro from a friend, like, there's, a lot. And so, I think it's a testament to you and that hard work muscle that you learned from Megan, and how, it's like Jerry gave her the gift of ambition and hard work, which was passed to you, which has made it way back up. So, Jerry's investment in his kids paid off. So, no, Jerry, if you're listening, I don't mean that fully, but just a little bit. Go ahead. So Ryan, speaking of Mr. Jerry Berry, uh, when you look at like what he's been able to accomplish and how he's been able to succeed, your new president, Steve, called him an icon.
Mortgage Godfather, yeah, I mean, it is truly incredible. I mean, it is like unreal.
What's made it, and when you look at like Jerry, right, and you say, what's made it possible for him? What are those things that you've seen in him that like are so impressive to you? And then how do you emulate that for yourself and bring that into the business?
You know, he taught me this early on, right? Like, everybody that you meet, you treat them equally, right? Like, you don't know where they've come from, what they've been through. And we use the phrase call Jerry Berry loans where everybody deserves a loan, right? Like, legitimately, like $100,000 or $2 million, we treat somebody, if they're getting a loan with us, the same. And I think Jerry, also showed me, and to this day, he doesn't necessarily care what you've done or how successful you are, right? Those are not the most important things to him, right? He is a down to earth, genuine man who will talk to you about just about anything, and really cares deeply. He cares immensely. He wants to help anybody and everybody. And he's willing to give you a shot, right? I think I'm a perfect example, right? Like, he probably had no idea what this would have turned out to be for him, right? But he kind of saw me and knew that, hey, let's give Ryan a shot. And I'm not the first, right, guy that has worked for him that has had some, success, essentially, right? There have been countless people, top producers in the market still today, that have learned and worked from Jerry and now are $100 million producers, right? Like really top tier guys that you probably wouldn't even know. Sean Potter, Brad McGee. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think of
I didn't realize Sean and Brad came up through Jerry. Is that right?
that is. Yep. And so, uh, Jerry has an effect on people where, he taught me how to break the walls down with people on phone calls, right? And really, because when somebody comes to you to ask for $500,000 as an example, people are pretty tense usually, right? They're a little nervous. They really are kind of, how do we act, right? And Jerry taught me that that's just another person and I'm a person too. And that you're really, so Jerry will crack a joke immediately when somebody gets on the phone, or he'll say, well, I've heard you've been out there spending money, right? What's up with that or, I've heard a vicious rumor, you're out spending money buying houses, like stuff like that, right? So when you hear that as a person on the other end, you're like, this guy's glad, like he's great, right? And so he's another human being, and that's really what I try to translate into my business, is taking that genuine approach, letting people know that, I always say the hardest part of the entire process is finding the right house for their family. The mortgage side, the finance side is pretty straightforward. Um, but yeah, I mean, Jerry also too, the hard work side of things. Jerry's in the office literally at 7 in the morning. Most mornings he's working out in the mornings. He's still, answering his phone when he can. He's kind of on the managerial side of things now, right? As far as the exact team's concerned. But he'll still do loan estimates if we need him to do them, right? He'll still call and, ask somebody about locking in an interest rate or do a loan application. And I think he's been in the business for like 28 years and does not need to be doing these things, right?
Yeah. 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 Super inspiring. I love that, the vicious rumor, or like how he turns tense moments into like human beings connecting to human being
It's
moments.
crazy, man. Yeah. And I tell you what, he'd be somebody good to have on your podcast next.
He's got to wait in line, Ryan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. About his story, goodness gracious, his one away moment, I'm sure, has got to be pretty crazy. But yeah, super, super fortunate to have him in my corner and really as a mentor in the mortgage industry, but also outside of the mortgage industry too, right? Um, just an overall great human being. So
If you don't mind me asking, given what you shared a bit earlier about your father, how much do you look to like Jerry in that model for your life?
you're exactly right. That I guess you could say would be my father figure, right? That I look up to and truly do admire, in that sense. And he's changed my life. Like completely. Um, the opportunities that have come to me through him, right, it have been unreal. And so, you know, I owe him pretty much everything, dude. He's been there for me, time and time again. But also, everybody goes, well, gosh, like, how do you like working for your father-in-law, right? Like, how is that? How's that? How is that? And I go, well, he's a really fun guy to be around, truthfully, and in business as well. Like, and I think we're also very similar with how we are personality wise. And so we get along really well just in general. So, I'll call him up on a Saturday and ask him if he wants to go meet up and just grab dinner, right? Or just to hang out. And that's just the kind of guy that, and the relationship that we have, outside of business too. Now it's different, right, with grandkids and all that. But, prior to that, it wouldn't be out of the norm for me and him to just go grab dinner, or even with my mother-in-law too, right? Like with Chris, just go hang out. And Megan would actually be at work, right? So Megan wasn't even there, and I'm just hanging out with him.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool when you can find those people, extended family that become your own family, and it's neat that they've taken you in like a son. If you're a founder looking to grow without raising capital or giving up control, Relent is built for you. Founded by entrepreneurs who've scaled without outside funding, Relent helps companies find and retain talent, lower operational costs, and reinvest in growth. We've hired nearly 10 team members through Relent and streamlined our entire cost structure, freeing up capital to put toward what matters most. Even small teams can set up offshore operations quickly, compliantly, and without heavy infrastructure. With deep expertise in the India-US corridor, Relent combines cultural fluency with operational rigor and guides everything from team design to long-term scaling. Grow on your terms and start with Relent. To learn more, visit relent.team/arcbound. Ryan, when you look at your future goals, so father, husband, producer, like, walk me down. Maybe you thought of this, maybe not as far out, but like say like 5 years out, like where is Ryan Hadley in the domains of life that matter most to you?
I think I'll kind of look at it in three facets, right? Like father, husband, and business, right? Like we'll kind of go those routes. I'll say, as far as a father is concerned, I want to be present, right? Like in our industry, we're super fortunate to have flexibility, right? And I've yet to really find any other industry that's out there where you can have as much success, but also have flexibility at your fingertips. And so I hope in 5 years, I'm able to go to my son's baseball games or practices or, those kind of things on a Thursday night at 4 o'clock or a Saturday morning baseball game. And I'm not worried about getting this loan estimate done, over to a client. Obviously there are times where that does happen, but I hope that I can build a team around me similar to what Jerry has done for himself, right? To really have a great quality of life overall. Because that's super important to me to be there for my boys. Same thing as, being a husband, right? That's the next kind of facet. I want to be the best husband that I can be. I want to be there for my wife, support her. And if she wants to, do something, support her wholeheartedly. I mean, right now, I feel like we're in the season of life of raising kids and, just really kind of getting to the next day of, gosh, how'd the baby sleep last night? Okay, well, so we're kind of in the trenches, quote unquote. We've got I've got a 2-year-old Cooper and a 6-month-old Hunter. So we're pretty much in it right now. But in 5 years, hopefully there's a little bit more of the dust that has settled and we've kind of got a better grip on that. And then I'd say business wise, man, I'm passionate about leading others. And so I hope that within 5 years I can have more of kind of a leadership role within what I'm doing and potentially try to have other loan officers come work and train under me, similar to what Jerry has done, and really show them the approach that we have and how, we feel that business should be done. It's not just a transaction. Everybody matters. And so I hope that I'm able to have a leadership role at some, level and perspective. And so, yeah, and I hope we're still helping a lot of people, buy houses and helping them save money on refinances. And
Yeah, man, that's I think really well said. I mean, you clearly have given some forethought to where you want to be as a leader in the business, but also like the family person you want to be, and the husband, and I think around the important life domains to provide and be present. I'll also say, it's, even though it's a business that has a lot of flexibility, it's also a business that you're always on, and I think to put that presentness with your kids, or at least being there and showing up, like they're gonna remember that. And like, it's funny, I think about my dad sometimes, and he was always there, like throwing the ball in the yard with me, making time after work or like at the games. Like he never missed the important moments, no matter how busy he was. And uh, I, I like I think that's special. And like, when my parents got divorced, he didn't walk away. And I look at that and I'm like, wow, like, not that I ever thought he would, but like when you're so young, you don't know. No. So I think it's only since I've been older, I've been able to appreciate things in it from a different way. So yeah, anyways, yeah, man, what a special journey of yours. Is there anything I haven't asked you? Like, is there anything that like we should shed a light on that we haven't so far, or you want to shed a light on because it's something I want to know to ask?
I don't know, man. I would say, I feel like in my scenario and circumstances, not a lot of people understand or know kind of what we covered about getting into the mortgage industry and where I grew up, right, was nothing, compared to what I have now, right, and those kind of things. And so I think we covered a lot.
Okay, one more question then. One more. How does that feel though? Like you're living a story that you never saw or knew. Like you've completely built a life.
Great. It feels unreal. I tell people all the time, Brian, that I'm so lucky. Like I don't even know how else to say it. I'm lucky and I'm blessed, and um it's really it's pretty crazy, dude. I still wonder myself. I'm like, I look around and I'm going, gosh, I mean, I'm so fortunate, and I'm a big believer. I believe in God, right? And He's had my back through it all, truthfully, and I wouldn't have what I have today without Him, without the people that He's put in my life. Yeah, my mom, my brothers, Jerry, my mother-in-law, Chris, right? Like those are all super important people to me. Um, but yeah, it feels unreal still, and I think it's still going to feel that way for a while. But I'm lucky, and yeah.
Yeah, man, it's so cool to see your gratitude and appreciation for life. Chris Berry is a good one. Always liked her. Jerry picked well.
Yeah, no, she is. And again, like just have so many people rooting for me, which is a great feeling. Um, but yeah, I hope, and also add this, I hope in 5 years I still have the same perspective.
That's right. When you're a $250 million a year producer, team of six under you.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, and that's to me what's important, right? Keeping that understanding of like where I have been, right? And also carrying that with where I'm going.
Yeah, I think that'll never leave you, like that'll fuel you and fuel the purpose and do that for others. And it's awesome. Ryan, I'm super stoked I really enjoyed getting to know you. I mean, I really haven't known you that well, but it's been really, really nice. Where can people find Mr. Hadley Homes, Ryan Hadley?
Hadley Home Loans, right? Yeah. Gosh, with your help, right? I'm gonna be, plastered out there probably a lot more. But on Instagram, you can follow me. Facebook, you can also email me, hadleyhomeloans@fhmtg.com, or text me or call me. And you guys can put that kind of in the bio for this podcast if you want.
Cool. Puneeth, so that's a call for you. No, we'll take care. We'll take care of you and edit as we need and make it come to life. So Ryan, thanks for showing up today. This was really nice, and excited to watch the journey unfold.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me, man. It was great talking to you.
We traveled from a library ultimatum to a life redesigned, habits set, confidence earned, and a door opened towards a calling that nearly closed after 2 failed exams. Ryan showed us how childhood fractures can become fuel, how a mentor's humor can soften the sharp edges of money talk, and how equal treatment, $100,000 or $2 million, builds trust that lasts. We heard a father and a husband in the making, shaping his next 5 years around team-built flexibility and little league sidelines, holding gratitude steady even as ambitions rise. The road bends toward leadership, service, and showing up at home and with clients. If this conversation resonated, help others find it. leave a review, and share the episode with a friend who draws strength from it. New episodes drop on Tuesdays and Fridays. I'll see you in the next episode.